How's it going, folks? Welcome back. So what we have featured here is the iconic Cobra Rattler. This is a work in progress. I still have quite a work to do. Comparison size. This is, I think, 140 scale probably. Vamp. Um, this is a 172 scale. I used two Warhog 172 scale airplanes. The Rattler was actually, roughly based off the Warhog. Um, I used the Academy Warhog, um, and if you, I would suggest if you're gonna do this project, whatever, uh, Monogram, Rebel. There's a lot of companies that do the A10, but I would stick with one specific one, just because sometimes the details they might there might be variances, slight variances, but of course the original airplane model comes with only two engines, and you're gonna need three, so that's the biggest reason why. And it comes in handy when you're creating this to have extra pieces. Um, of course, one of the biggest things of the biggest difference between the Warhog and the Rattler is that the original airplane has the engines mounted right here. I believe they put them up here in order for them to be more protected from enemy fire. So, which is, smart, and it works out great for the Warhog. Moving those two engines from there to here is it's gonna be the biggest challenge, um, and also getting that twist, just like the Rattler. It's kind of a big challenge, but then at the same time, it's fairly simple. It's just one rod connecting them together, and it runs right down the middle. What I did was get the wing, uh, roughly assemble it, but don't glue it together. Just put tape all over the seams, and then before I assemble the engine, because this engine comes in two pieces, I got one piece and I laid it out on paper. I traced it out. So that's a rough diameter of the engine, and then I laid that piece of paper on the wing, and then traced it, and then cut down the lines, and that made a fairly accurate silhouette of the engine. And then I would cut that out, and then it leaves me with the original spacing of the wing minus the added engine. It worked great. I still had to fill in this side, and somewhat sand here. It didn't come out perfect. There's a slight difference between that one and that one, but it's fairly negligible if you don't look too closely, or if I didn't point it out, you probably would have never noticed. After I did that, of course, glued this side and that side, and then roughly measured the middle point, both bilateral, and then just a simple rod, aluminum rod. You could use the antenna rods that I from old remotes, whatever you would want to use to connect these, and then run it right down the middle. Um, so once that struggle was done, after that, everything's pretty downhill. The landing pylons they sit right here. So when I cut it out, I was just careful to take care of these landing pylons. Once I cut it out, of course, I moved the pylons towards the inside, and they sit fairly good, which is oddly accurate to the Rattler, because those pylons actually stick out slightly here, and on the Rattler actually has these pylons sitting right there. Those pylons, they don't add anything to the Rattler, but visually they did add those on. because the Rattler's original landing gear folded inward. On the 810, they go forward. And I was able to find a little hinge and some cable to go ahead and have these workable, which was fairly simple. This lever is from a Lego. It's just a little hinge. It's a lever in the, of course, in the Lego world, but it worked perfectly. I was actually looking for hinges that were micro hinges on Amazon and eBay, and I mean, you could use any kind of hinge that stays in line. Specifically, you want to find one that stays in line. That way, there's no lateral movement for that gear. But then I was looking through my junk drawer and I came across a bunch of these little ones that I had, and they were perfect. I sent it both sides off and they sit perfect. They give a good height. What I did was take the original where it was supposed to sit and then measure it from here to here. And once I put the hinge in there, then I could just calculate the difference where it would sit naturally, and then cut this off and then glue it to the top, and done. I mean, it's fairly simple. Because the hinge doesn't lock in place, I did assist it with wire. So this wire, I bought it from, you could get it at Amazon. I think I picked mine up at Hobby Lobby. Fairly simple. The gauge is important because it's flexible yet sturdy enough to assist it. So I can fold it down, and when I bring it up, it gives it good strength where it's not gonna hyperextend, and I stop it where it needs to be stopped. The front landing gear was a little bit more difficult. This one's assisted with a soft connection here. There's no hinge here, but there is a hinge back here. And then it's got a magnet where it sits, and I had to push it in and it goes down. So yeah, this one's a little bit specific. Let me see what else. After that, the slight modifications for the 810 original model, of course, is these back wings. They usually stand straight up. All you gotta do is tilt it a little bit, and then I had to fill in the gap there. I just use epoxy, 2-part sculpt. Not sure if you could see it. To fill it in. This is the best stuff that I've come across. There's a lot of 2-part epoxies out there, so whichever one you like best. But yeah, it's just about filling in the spots, just to make it a little bit more smoother. Another thing, of course, is the turret here. That iconic center turret that's got those the double machine gun. I got lucky with that. I came across, again, my junk drawer, this little, it was a cylinder, so I cut it in the middle, and so that's gonna be the canopy. I'm waiting for either to find another hinge that's small or get a hinge, that way this canopy can open up. And considering I have 2 810s to work with and I have spare parts, I'm going to be able to get the seat from the other model and put it in there. And so there will be a seat, and I'm going to order a double 50 cal that I'll be able to modify in there, paint this, and then leave this clear and modify it so it could look like the original. On the original Rattler, this turret sits right in the middle of the wings. So that's, you could tell it's not sitting there. But these wings, what I also did to help assist that 90-degree, the vertical takeoff and landing, the VTOL, I put on the rod that's sitting in the center, there's also an L-shaped L-shaped metal piece. So when you turn the wings, that L shape connects to a metal. One metal here and one metal. Magnet. There's one magnet here and one magnet here. So when it's up, this metal connection makes contact with the magnet, so it holds it in place. And then when it goes the other way, the other side touches the other magnet. So that way they're not flopping and they don't get loose. It was just an extra thing. But that L shape is right in the center, so it needs that space in order for it to go ahead and swivel. That's another reason why I offset the turret. This turret, another Lego piece. It's just one little rod there that's connected into the center, and that connects to that Lego piece, that gray one, and the black one is another Lego piece that I came across in my junk drawer, and it sits and connects perfectly, and it swivels. So it's gonna have that swivelability and the little cockpit with the little seat and the double 50 cal. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm super lucky that I came across this piece. I wish I knew where I got this so I could let you folks know, but I don't even know if I could ever find another one that fits perfect. It's almost perfect. Sometimes I get really lucky. I don't know what it is that I find these pieces. Sometimes it's spooky. But yeah, it's super fun. This is a project that doesn't require too many, specialty pieces. I know that the G.I. Joe universe right now is expanding to the 1/12 scale, and which is awesome. But I don't know about you folks, but I'm starting to run out of room from my G.I. Joes, and 1/12 it just means I need more space. So I decided to go ahead and scale down instead of scale up. So I'm building this 172 Rattler to go along with my HO scale Tyco G.I. Joe train set and truck set. So I'm hoping to do a large diorama of that includes the truck set and the Tyco train set, along with these 172 vehicles. The 172 vehicle, I think the HO scale is 176. It might be 180. I forgot. It's 182 or 186. It's a little bit smaller, but it's very negligible. And when I bought HO scale helicopters and HO scale vehicles to go along with the train, they looked a little bit too small. But when I put the 172 scale compared to the HO scale train and truck set, it looked a lot better. As far as the little people, the little soldiers, the pilots, and the vehicles, I think it's a little bit closer to it. That's what I'm going with. So and a plus, 172 scale has a lot more models, military planes and figures that you can purchase. So that's what I'm gonna go with. Along with this Rattler, I have the Cobra. I have working on a mech suit. So it's gonna look. I'm pretty excited. And the scenery and everything, it's just gonna be way more cost effective for me, and I get to have a lot more fun, and I get to work on these little multiple vehicles, and I'm not gonna need a lot of space for that. So I might even sell my other G.I. Joes so I could work on these a lot more. One of the things that you want to take in consideration when you're building this cockpit and wheel well, this piece right here, I forgot to tell you, don't solidify it, don't glue it in place until you're close to the end, only because it needs a lot more weight. Because of your modifications that you do to this vehicle, the center line of gravity is shifted towards the back. So I ended up needing a lot of space in here in order for me to put a lot more weight, which is any kind of screws I just glued in there to offset that back weight. Luckily this part I didn't glue it down, so I had accessibility to that inside. There's a lot of room in here, so I know there's a lot of micro light kits, so this would be great room right in here to put a battery pack and a light kit that you could run lights to the cockpit, lights to the engines. It would be nice. I mean, there's a lot you can do. I know it's small, but there's a lot of room for real good upgrades and real nice upgrades. And again, because of its size, I mean, cost effective, hey, that's a plus on my book. All right, folks, if you folks have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I have fun building these. I make these videos so maybe it could spark some imagination and you could have fun as well. And all my advice, as best as I can, I'll walk you through it. If you get stumped, it's just awesome just to share ideas and help you folks build these. So yeah, I hope to see your own builds, and yeah, just send me a message on YouTube if you have any questions, and don't forget to have fun out there.